Hello, this is Life Advisor Kent with lifeadvisorservices.com. Very excited to bring you our very first CBT Verses. If you want to know a little bit more about what we're doing, just watch our CBT Verses intro, kind of give you the whole rundown of why we're starting this and why we're doing it. But real quick, make sure, we're not trying to put down anybody. We're just trying to bring to light what CBT is and how people are using it. If you're anything that can help you in your self-help journey, please do it. Please use it. We're not going to, discourage that in any way. So let's get started. What's our first topic we're going to be talking about? I should say, what's our first subject, topic, and book? Dr. Phil's Self Matters. 2 million sold. Let's get started. All right. We are going with Dr. Phil versus CBT, Self Matters. A look at how Dr. Phil uses cognitive behavioral therapy in his Self Matters book. Round one. So how we're going to work this is I'm going to take just a direct quote out of the book and kind of give the page number. That way, if anybody has the book, you can follow along, or, if you're saying, hey, I'm making up stuff, and try to see how it kind of relates to CBT, or maybe he has a good idea that's un-CBT related. I'm going to try to, talk about a little bit. So one of the first things that he discusses, and it's a how-to book designed to get you excited about filling your life with what is genuinely important to you instead of a lot of mindless, inherited, assigned, go-through emotions and activities. This is from page 10. Now, here's the difference. I want to kind of say that he used a lot of CBT. Well, with that statement, CBT is not really a therapy to get you excited. He's doing this, I believe, kind of, sell books, build that brand, and he needs to get you motivated. CBT is more about getting you out of that mindlessness. We use the problem working ranking sheets, bad behavior worksheets as our first steps. They get you thinking a lot about your mindlessness. CBT tries to help you stop patterns, triggers, and automatic negative thinking. All right, on page 15, he talks about audit. Audit your life, mind, and spirit. Now, one of the difference between CBT Dr. Phil book is he wants you to look at your past. We kind of believe that, when you're an author, you have to talk about yourself. You have to draw those people into your past, and that way it gets you thinking about your past and how you guys can kind of interrelate and interlock. His practice is based on talk therapy. Somebody comes in, sits in front of him, kind of like his TV show, and they go back and forth. And that's one reason why some of these books aren't very beneficial in the long run, is because Dr. Phil's writing a book from a perspective that if he's sitting face to face back and forth from you. Unfortunately, he's not. You aren't able to ask him the questions. That's why we think here at Life Advisor Services, we are here to support you for in your self-help. But also with CBT, it is set up where, if you do the work, it's all on paper, you can do it yourself. So on page 22, he says, where you are now, everything you are. Everything you do begins with and is based on what I call personal truth. And when you kind of read the whole paragraph, he talks about, well, shucks, darn, those buzzwords, I'm not smart enough to understand them. But a lot of them aren't very hard to understand. He just needs to come up with a new buzzword for him to brand it, sell it, and, kind of be able to, like we say, repackage it and present it. The ideas from this, like 1933, Freud has been talking about the id, the ego, and super ego. And before that, man, look at all the philosophies that were, around for hundreds of years. So I don't think anything is new. And I don't think Dr. Phil has a hard time understanding a lot of those quote unquote buzzwords and concepts used from earlier psychologists and philosophers. But he does have to make something unique for himself that he can sell and market. On page 25, one of the quotes I took out was, we are going to deal with an amazingly few external and internal events that have determined the outcome of your entire existence. This is, pretty much accurate. As you see with our CBT worksheets that we offer, that you just need to kind of throw all your problems and your feelings, in some of our worksheets, but we always want you to get it down to, your top 2 or 3. We'll start maybe with the top 5. And we'll say top 2 or 3 and just start seeing how they're interrelated. So this is 100% accurate. This is something that, probably, all therapy it does, but especially this is where CBT does too. You try to take all the things that seem are overwhelming you and causing you all that stress, that anxiety, that depression, and let's really get to the core source. So there's nothing new or groundbreaking in here. Well, let's see what he's got to say next. And how can you find out what he says next? Let's go to round 2, chapter 2 with Dr. Phil. And as always, please give us a thumbs up, like the video, subscribe, and the next video is just going to be Dr. Phil versus CBT, round 2.